to the Jay Giles Band as opposed to our event. That would have been insulting.
It would have. I mean, other than maybe going to Toto, that would be insulting.
One of the bigger stations in town, who I am friendly with a bunch of people there, but we have to have a little good-natured ribbing, a little back and forth. So their anniversary party was the same night as our anniversary party. Their anniversary party was outdoors. It was featuring the Jay Giles Band, but tickets were like $60.
Right. How many members of the Jay Giles Band were still alive and kicking?
Probably just
Jay Giles.
They're probably just doing the
I know that Jay Giles was not a member of the Jay Giles Band. I'm thinking probably Peter Wolf with a bunch of pickup musicians.
Right.
Yeah.
And which is big right now. We're seeing that a lot. Of course, everybody been talking about the current, and there's a great documentary which I caught half of. I want to watch the rest of, about the current incarnation that is Quiet Riot, featuring no original members of Quiet Riot.
Okay, who is maybe the producer or the tour manager? Is somebody original?
I think that they were just able to come up with whatever funding was needed to secure the name.
Okay.
And, of course, the tunes.
Right, which is, I want to say I'm surprised, but no, I'm not.
But they've been doing that with the doo-wop guys for years. I mean, you'll have a band with the original name, and it'll be a grandkid that fills in, or they found other members, cousins and stuff. With the doo-wop groups, sometimes they usually keep it in the family.
Right, at least there's some kind of blood relation involved. Yeah, but no, this is purely corporate sponsored, right? Yeah.
Just out there, and I mean, as an anarcho-capitalist, I can't really fault anybody who's just trying to go out there and make a dime. But
well, I can't fault it, but I don't have to go listen to it.
I can't fault it, but I don't have to like it.
Exactly. I mean, and all the more, I had the misfortune to go see Quiet Riot on one of their comeback tours with the original guys.
That's right. Wasn't your old band, the Headcutters, weren't you slated to open up for one of those gigs when they came through town?
That I don't know about. I think if that was the case, it was before I was a member of that band. But I think that never materialized in any way, shape, or form because Quiet Riot pretty much dissolved.
Yeah, and that's covered in the current Quiet Riot documentary that's out there. How they just kind of really had a lead singer that wasn't keeping up with the whole touring schedule.
Well, he wasn't keeping up with it, and he wasn't much of a front man either.
Yeah.
I saw the demise of Quiet. I mean, I think they hung on for a couple of more shows, but I saw the demise of Quiet Riot at what used to be Jared's in Attleboro.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can't even say, I would say it was the worst professional performance I ever saw, except that you can't really say that because it was more sad than anything.
Yeah.
In other words, this was a bunch of guys that were just nursing their habits.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And you witnessed their demise.
Yes, I did.
Another band that absolutely blew the roof off of, and I got to say, Firehouse 13, if you haven't been there in a while, check it out. Under new ownership, under new management, a young man that you all know as Psycho has taken over that establishment and absolutely better sound system. It's cleaner if you care about stuff like that. I don't. I prefer a nightclub where you stick to the floors.
Yeah, but I do like a good sound system.
But yeah, better sound system. They're working on the place, and it looks great in there. They got some great shows coming up. So, if you had a bad experience in the past at Firehouse 13 for whatever reason, go ahead and give it another shot because they've really cleaned up the joint, as the old saying goes.
Yeah, well, what happened was, if I remember correctly, it wasn't Firehouse 13 for a while. It was kind of, it was owned. The people that owned it weren't bad people, but it was kind of an afterthought.
Right.
To
Yeah.
Fet.
They
in
had
other words,
definitely
the same
moved up.
owners that.
Yeah, they had moved up to bigger and better things, and like anything else, when you're spread too thin, sometimes the other things.
Right. They just let it slide.
Right. Yeah. But it's not anymore, man. The place is looking great, and they just have a great clip of punk rock shows coming up between now and the end of the year. But another band that absolutely blew the roof off of Firehouse 13 last night was the Nymphadels, great two-piece band from Providence made up of Pat and Jess. And we're going to hear two songs from them coming up, starting off with my favorite Nymphadels song, which is Wake Up. And then after that, we're going to hear my second favorite Nymphadels song, which is Anchor. So it's a double shot of the Nymphadels right here on the Tony Jones Show, Rhode Island, freeradio.org.
it's in my bones. It makes me move, it shakes my soul. And what it is I do not know, but it's bringing me home. That's why we need a little wake up, wake me up. Been sleeping way too long. The time's right and nothing's wrong. Turn it up, turn me on. I'm tired of the jaded love that's always stuck on someone else. I just wanna feel brand new under the sun. So I'm turning all the stations on until we find our favorite song. And we won't stop, we'll sing along because the night is young. That's why we need a little wake up, wake me up. Been sleeping way too long. The time's right and nothing's wrong. Turn it up and turn me on. Wake up, wake me up. Been sleeping way too long. The time's right and nothing's wrong. Turn it up and turn me on. Wake up and wipe the sleep out from your eyes. I wanna see the dream you hide inside. Wake up and wipe the sleep out from your eyes. I wanna see the dream you hide inside.
the mighty Nymphadels right here on the Tony Jones Show. You just heard Anchor. Before that, Wake Up, a band that, as I mentioned earlier, tore it off the roof of Firehouse 13 last night for the Rhode Island Free Radio anniversary party. Tony Jones here. You were tuned in to the Tony Jones Show. Check in with me online at facebook.com/Tony Jones Show, TonyJones.org, and on Twitter at Tony Jones in RI. George Garner is here. We're bringing you through some of the best local music around. And now, George, I will yield the floor to all the metalheads out there, all the metalheads listening.
Okay.
Of which I say that I'm not, but maybe possibly I am.
You're being won over.
Maybe I'm having a crisis of faith here when it comes to music.
Here's the thing. It seeps into your veins a little at a time. And then at some point you realize that you are at Metal Fest and you are enjoying most of the bands. That's when you know it has you.
And next thing you know, you're doing a Beavis and Butthead style headbanging routine.
And after that, you are listening to Goat Whore.
Who, by the way,
are doomed.
Aren't they coming to town?
Yes, they are. Not Providence, unfortunately, but they're coming as close as Boston. And I still intend to book them for my birthday. I'm not sure which birthday, but that is going to happen. When they're in the vicinity and my birthday rolls around.
We'll have Goat Whore in this very studio.
It's not a bad idea.
But we're going to hear War and Glory. Doesn't that sound like a metal song to you? Here's some Whiskey Fire right here on the Tony Jones Show.
Your trust does not be